Donald Trump was having a psychotic meltdown all last night as the entire world is calling for the 25th Amendment to be invoked. Here at home in the United States, Congress introducing legislation to establish a panel to look into the fitness of Donald Trump's cognitive and physical abilities to function in the position of the presidency. More broadly throughout the world, the international community is saying that Donald Trump needs to be removed based on his cognitive decline. Heck, the Iranian social media accounts across the world in the various embassies continue to mock Donald Trump and say, so when is the 25th Amendment going to be invoked, America? You realize that you have a deeply unstable and cognitively ailing individual with the nuclear codes, and Iran's just been absolutely ruthless and it's causing Donald Trump to have this late night psychotic meltdown. They just mock the hell out of him. They're posting videos about Epstein Queen, which is their nickname for Melania. They're posting AI images of the AI image that Donald Trump posted of himself as Jesus. Then they have Jesus going after Donald Trump, who's the Antichrist, and throwing him in hell, basically. They are taunting him. It is haunting him. And Donald Trump all last night, post after post after post, weird posts with photos of him as like a little baby, which is just so odd. You have Donald Trump making other posts talking about, let me just go read some of them to you. He's attacking NATO. This is what he's like posting around midnight his time. NATO wasn't there for us. They won't be for us. They won't be there for us in the future. Donald J. Trump, again around midnight, he posts, will someone please tell Pope Leo that Iran has killed at least 42,000 innocent, completely unarmed protesters in the last 2 months, and that for Iran to have a nuclear bomb is absolutely unacceptable. Thank you for your attention to this matter. America is back! 3 exclamation points. President Donald J. Trump. And then he posts this weird article about Alan Dershowitz, and Alan Dershowitz saying Trump could move to expunge 2019 impeachment after the release of bombshell evidence. It's really good to know, Donald, that on April 14th at around midnight, you're posting about 2019 impeachment stuff. Abuse of discretion. Appeals court slaps down Judge Boasberg over contempt probe. That's what Trump was posting at around midnight also. He also posts the following. Chokehold. Iran could run out of oil storage with Trump blockade, wreaking havoc with its economy. So as you keep on posting over and over again that Iran wants to make a deal badly and we're going to make a deal with them, you're posting at midnight that you're doing a economic chokehold on them that's going to starve them to death. By the way, another admission of more war crimes right there. But also, don't you realize that for Iran, it shows how weak you are that that's what you're posting at around midnight? I mean, it's just more post after post after post by Donald Trump. He goes, tune in tomorrow to watch me on Maria Bartiromo. Tune in tomorrow. Okay, what do you think Maria Bartiromo is going to say? I know. Here's what Maria Bartiromo says. She says that you claim that the war is over, that you've won the war and it's done. That's what you want Iran to see that you're saying right now, that there is no more war, while there's currently a very tenuous ceasefire, and you keep on making up that Iran wants to make a deal so badly. They want to make a deal so badly. So anyway, here's what Maria Bartiromo said. Here, let's play this clip.
I just left the president today. It was a great interview. He said a lot about the economy, about the Iran war, about NATO. One thing that I'll leave you with, I said to him, Mr. President, you keep talking about the war like was. I said, is it over? He said, it's over. Join the whole interview tomorrow, Mornings with Maria, Fox Business, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern. I'll see you then.
And as I noted, the Iranian social media account saying 25th Amendment. Here at home, 50 House Democrats introduced legislation to establish a commission on presidential capacity to discharge the powers and duties, citing Donald Trump's unhinged and volatile and incoherent actions. Here's the official bill that was introduced into Congress yesterday: to establish a commission on presidential capacity to discharge the powers and duties of the office and for other purposes. Be it enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. Short title. The act may be cited as the Commission on Presidential Capacity to Discharge the Powers and Duties of the Office Act. There is established a commission in the legislative branch to be known as the Commission on Presidential Capacity to Discharge the Powers and Duties of the Office. The commission shall serve as a body provided by law by Congress to carry out Section 4 of the 25th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. The determination under subsection A shall be made if the commission finds that the president is temporarily or permanently impaired by any of the following conditions: physical illness, mental illness, alcohol or drug use, any other condition or contingency rendering the president unable to execute the powers and duties of the office of the presidency. Congresswoman Stansberry writes, today I joined Democratic Congressmember Raskin and introduced a 25th Amendment bill to create a bipartisan commission to determine if the president is fit to serve due to physical, mental, or other conditions. And it's notable that while legislation was introduced to form that commission right there, as I said, Donald Trump continued to attack the Pope over and over and over again. Then you had Dr. Oz, very close to Donald Trump, say that Donald Trump frequently, this is what Oz said yesterday to Don Jr. on Don Jr.'s podcast. Dr. Oz said, Trump continues to argue to me that diet soda is good for him because it kills grass. So therefore it must kill cancer inside the body because it kills grass. This is the individual with their hands on the nuclear codes. This is the individual who has got the United States into an unlawful war crime-ridden, catastrophic war against Iran. Here, play this clip.
Office. He'll pepper. Bobby and I usually go to the meetings together. So he'll first start off with candy bars, that little candy jar he'll call it. He'll hit the red button. Yeah. And then comes the diet soda pops, which is your dad argues that diet soda is good for him because it kills grass. It's poured on grass, so therefore it must kill cancer cells inside the body. So he'll try, please. I'm not even going to argue this right now. We were on Air Force One the other day, and I walk in there because he wants to talk about something, and he's got an orange soft drink on his desk.
Fanta. He drinks Fanta.
That's what I didn't want to say the brand name on the podcast. He's got a Fanta on the desk, and I say, "Are you kidding me?" So he starts to sheepishly grin. He goes, "This stuff's good for me. It kills cancer cells." And then he tells me it's fresh squeezed. So how bad could it be for you?
Okay. But then maybe he's onto something, because I will say this. I know a lot of guys pushing 80.
Here's how CNN was reporting Donald Trump continuing to attack Pope Leo XIV yesterday. Let's play it.
The third straight day, President Trump is criticizing the Pope. The president told an Italian newspaper that the pontiff, quote, doesn't understand and shouldn't be talking about war because he has no idea what's happening. Pope Leo has opposed the war with Iran, saying that Jesus rejects war.
And then yesterday, Donald Trump also called one of his favorite journalists, Jonathan Karl, and Donald Trump said that he isn't thinking about extending the ceasefire. He doesn't think it will be necessary. I think you're going to be watching an amazing 2 days. I really do. I asked, Jonathan Karl said, if the war ends with a deal, or do you just say, look, we knocked out their capacity and that's it? Trump. It could end either way, but I think a deal is preferable because then they can rebuild. They really do have a different regime now. No matter what, we took out the radicals. They're gone, no longer with us. And he made this extraordinary claim, Donald Trump did, to Jonathan Karl, quote, if I weren't president, the world would be torn to pieces. I think you've torn the world to pieces right now, Donald. Absolutely absurd behavior right there. Let's go to Capitol Hill and hear what some of the lawmakers are saying. Here's Congressman Menendez. Here's what he has to say. Play this clip.
Congressman, what do you make of Trump's attacks on the Pope this weekend?
I mean, what else do Americans need to see, right? First American Pope, and from someone who has no religion in President Trump, right? So for him to attack the Pope and then to depict himself as Jesus. Like, I just don't know what else the American people need to see for them to be convinced that this person's not stable, that he should not be our president, that he needs to be removed from office. It's sacrilegious. And meanwhile, this same week, I was visiting a pastor from my district who was being held at Delaney Hall. on Holy Week, right? So they're locking up religious leaders. We have a president who's depicting himself as Jesus and attacking the Pope. What else do the American people need to see?
Got it. Thank you, Congressman. Appreciate it.
Then AOC spoke to our Pablo Manriquez on the steps of the Capitol about, you have any reaction to the attacks on the Pope and Donald Trump's mental fitness? Play this clip.
Congresswoman, any remarks or any reaction to Trump's attacks on the Pope over the weekend? I know.
At the point that you're attacking the Pope, who do you think has moral authority in this situation? You know what I mean?
And then AOC talks about Donald Trump threatening mass genocide of civilizations. Let's play this clip.
You know what I mean?
Congresswoman, on top of that, what were your thoughts about President Trump threatening war crimes, saying an entire civilization might die tonight? What was your reaction? What are your thoughts about that?
President Trump, I want to be clear, he not only threatened a genocide, he is continuing to threaten a genocide against the Iranian people. That is his main point of quote unquote leverage in this situation. It is a war crime, it is abhorrent, and it is also illegal. Our presence in Iran right now is a crime. It is a crime. He has committed a crime. I personally believe it's impeachable, but, you know, that whole thing aside, it's a crime. No president is authorized by the Constitution of the United States to go to war without the authorization of Congress, period. And so acting out on any of his threats would also be a crime as well. Congresswoman.
Then it's also very fascinating how the MAGA Republicans make excuses for this, like MAGA Republican Congressmember Jimenez. Here's what he has to say.
What do you make of Trump's attacks on the Pope over the weekend?
I have a difference of opinion.
Difference of opinion?
Yeah.
Okay. You for the Pope or you for Trump?
I'm for the Pope for spiritual things, and I'm for the president for political things.
Thank you, Congressman.
And our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, put together this list. Starting on February 6th, but there's probably a lot more. Donald Trump saying they want to make a deal badly. March 2nd, they want to make a deal badly. March 16th, they want to make a deal badly. The 24th, they want to make a deal badly. The 25th, the 1st, the 13th, the 14th, they want to make a deal badly. They want to make a deal badly. They want to make a deal badly. I mean, how embarrassing can you be? You know, and a few other things on Capitol Hill I want to share with you as Donald Trump's cognitive and physical abilities decline. Let's take a look at what MAGA Mike Johnson said. MAGA Mike, what do you think about Donald Trump saying that he wants to wipe out Iran's civilization? Play this clip.
The president last week threatened to wipe out the civilization of Iran. Was that appropriate? No comment? Really, on that?
Did you advise the president to delete that post with Jesus?
Oh, and hey, MAGA Mike, what do you think about Donald Trump posting himself as Jesus? You like that, MAGA Mike? MAGA Mike, you into that? Here, play this clip right here.
Speaker Johnson, can I ask you about the president's post depicting himself as Jesus? Was it blasphemy?
I talked to the president about it as soon as I saw it, and told him that I don't think it was being received in the same way he intended it. He agreed and he pulled it down. That was the right thing to do. He explained how he saw that, and I don't think he thought it was sacrilegious at all. So,
do you think he should back down?
I think he showed great respect to others that were doing it.
I mean, so again, utterly bizarre. But then let's go to J.D. Vance yesterday as well, because you know that J.D. Vance recognizes how cognitively ill Donald Trump is and physically ill. And J.D. Vance is like, I may have to step up soon based on how fast Donald Trump's decline is happening. Notably, J.D. Vance keeps on saying that there are all these people who want to kill Donald Trump. And I think J.D. Vance is saying this also to get Donald Trump's paranoia going as well. But listen to what J.D. Vance had to say. Play this clip.
Our goal is, well, starting in a few months, we're going to have primaries that are over. We're going to have candidates on the ballot, and we're all going to need to get out there and work hard, because the people who want to kill Donald Trump, the people who want to throw Donald Trump in prison, the people who murdered our friend, and then the people who celebrated it afterwards, those people are trying to achieve political power. We cannot let them, and we have to unite to make sure that doesn't happen.
Amen. And also then J.D. Vance. And I think this is part of J.D. Vance undermining Donald Trump. He's like, you know, a lot of voters, young voters, you know, they don't like our Middle East policy right now. So I tell them, take back your country. This is why you got to be engaged. Take back your country from the government. Dude, y'all are government. Trump's the government. You literally are the people. You're telling the young people to take back the government from you. And I think that's actually what he's signaling. I think he's giving his code to young people. Basically, this guy Trump, I don't want to do this war, but Trump did this war because, you know, he's a little bit cognitively addled. So take back your country. Hint, hint. Take back your country. Here's what Vance says. Here, play this clip.
And I've seen some of this, you know, on various issues. Like for example, I recognize that a lot of young voters don't love the policy that we have in the Middle East. Okay, I understand that. I also know that we've secured the border. We've lowered housing prices now for 8 months in a row, and there's going to be more to come beyond that. We've made America energy dominant, which has lowered electricity costs and things like that. We've made it so that we have the lowest murder rate in 127 years. I'm not saying you have to agree with me on every issue. I'm not saying you have to agree with me on every issue. What I'm saying is don't get disengaged because you disagree with the administration on one topic. Get more involved. Make your voice heard even more. That's how we ultimately take the country back. It's not by you know, if you get 5 things you want and 1 thing you don't want. I see way too many people, especially in sort of the online conservative, you know, Twitter sphere, who say, you know, there's no point. No.
There you have it. Tell me what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.